Hey guys, it's your favorite rock star superhero Rob Jones here. Wishing you a happy day. I hope things are going great for you. Loving life, living large, all the crazy stuff. Not afraid of this virus, respecting it, but not fearing it. Trusting that God's got bigger plans for all of us. I think we're going to do amazing things together. We're going to learn so much. We are learning so much. I'm so grateful for what the Lord has done. So I'm on Unit 3, so I'm kind of lame. I'm behind a lot of you guys, but I'm sitting in my car because I live near Seattle and it's mayhem here. So that being said, I'm going to be reading from the stuff I wrote out on my laptop. So if I look off to the side like this a lot, it's just because, well, I'm trying to entertain you and also keep myself on track. So why kingdom entrepreneurship? What does kingdom entrepreneurship mean to you? Well, here's what I wrote. I have always felt this is where Christ meets commerce and the influence associated with it. Meaning Christ first and income and influence to follow. I think the only way you can do anything is if you put the Lord first, right? It's the idea of the statue built on clay feet. I want to build my statue on brass feet. I want the strongest footing possible. And so with that, I have wanted a relationship that was foundationally built on Him and His principles since I was a boy. As far back as I can remember, I knew the Lord. Unlike a lot of people, I didn't have any sort of massive conversion experience until 2 weeks ago, and I'm 53 years old, so there's that. But I wrote the idea of sacrificing what I wanted and how I wanted to behave came at a very high cost. I was a professional drummer for 25 years. I left the business back in 2003, and I've been trying to figure out my life ever since, and it's been challenging to say the least. I have a lot of great ideas, but I also have, it seemingly feels like I have no way to put things together. I see my buddy John Watson is in watching. That's good. So for me, the idea of walking in a life that is valuable was caught because I was stuck on the fence. I was a total fence sitter my whole life. I mean, sometimes I struggle with it even today, but I grew up as a musician, so the idea of being wealthy and successful and having all these things that America tells me I want to have is what I followed. I followed that, knowing better, but I still followed it because I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. And I know the Lord. I knew the Lord, but it was, I wanted to stay on, I don't want to say I wanted to get on the other side of the fence. I sat on the fence because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know how to be a believer in a secular world, and I didn't know how to be a secular guy in a faith-filled world, if that makes sense. So when it comes down to this kingdom entrepreneurship for me, it was I knew I needed Him in the center of my life, but I was really afraid to give it over. And 2 weeks ago, I had a radical encounter with God, and one of these days I'll share it with you. But really, now for the first time in my life, I would tell you, the first time I'm just seeking His influence in a way where I want to put Christ first. And I think, man, it's hard, but that's the key. It's all about God. I can't do anything without Him, and I've been so afraid to make money because I thought it would take me away from Christ. And at the same time, I just thought Christ wanted me to be like, I don't know, John the Baptist and eat locusts and honey my whole life. And I just can't imagine that that's how it is. And granted, I think there's a little cultural influence there too that says, Jesus really wants us to be wealthy. I think that's a lie. But I don't think that wealth is a bad thing as far as financially wealth. As long as Christ is the footing, the foundation of everything we do. And I'm sorry, I'm getting tons of pings on my Facebook right now. So the next question is, what is the difference between kingdom entrepreneur and Christian business, or my definition? I would tell you, to me, a kingdom entrepreneur is a person that finds his ideas from the influence of Christ. That my ideas are made real through Christ's influence, if that makes sense. And what I wrote is I want to follow them. I want to trust in Him to lead me to my purpose in Him. I feel like anyone can have a Christian business. I could buy a Bible store and truly mean well and do good things and sell product to people who need those things. And I think those are fine, but I don't have to be a believer to own a Bible store, right? I just don't need it. You don't need it. None of us need it. I can buy the McDonald's franchise and sell hamburgers, but I could also be the best Christian leader who just happens to own a McDonald's franchise. So for me, it's pretty obvious that life outside of the kingdom is transactionally based, and with Christ, it's relationship based, and it's relationship with Christ first, and then people, right? When I did the 6-stake framework, I'd never seen it put this way, and honestly, I don't know what some of the things mean because, heck, I'm a musician. I don't know what a kingdom stack is. I have no idea. I know I could look it up. I didn't look it up. I've chosen probably not to look it up because I want to learn through this process, this 414 process. But it asks the question, what's your biggest area of strength? I might be an intense guy, and a few of you guys know me. I'm a very intense guy and very much a straight shooter, and I'm very transparent. And I don't mean that in a self-congratulatory way. I'm just a very clear guy. I'm not going to have a problem telling you how I think, and I'm going to tell you the truth and when you ask me a question, right? But I have a soft heart, and I love to love others where they're at. If anything, now that I've had a radical encounter with Jesus, I would consider my biggest area of strength on the 6-stake framework as a renewed mind. For the first time ever, I feel like not just that Jesus is my friend, but he's my king, he's my Lord. And that is a really radical thing for me because I've been a chicken about it. I've always known these things to be true. I always knew that if I were to die earlier in my life, I would have sat in front of God and I would have been like, I'm sorry, I just can't handle this. But I would know he would accept me because his grace was sufficient for me. But now my mind is renewed. I feel emboldened in a way I've never felt. The other day, I was walking through a grocery store and I saw a lady that I just barely know, and I was talking to her, and she says she's got a sinus infection, and I've never done this in my life, and I may never do it again, but I said, can I pray for you? Right there in the checkout stand, a whole bunch of people waiting with their little face masks on, and I'm praying for a lady. And I don't mean this self-congratulatory. I'm just saying that it really became real then because my obedience was overwhelming my fear. And so I want to encourage you for that. Just be obedient to his call. Pray for his call. So for me on the 6-stake framework, the biggest area of growth opportunity, well, I don't understand, and I have never understood what I call business 101. I get intensely frustrated by it. Years ago, I wanted to get this job really bad, and they asked me for a business plan. I was a consultant at the time, and all I did is I went online and I copied a business plan, and I just changed my name because it overwhelms me. It freaks me out. It scares me. It overwhelms me because it's so not my strength. I'm very detail oriented, but not that. That's not my jam. So for me, I'd rather partner. I'd rather find a planner, somebody who loves and just owns an operational aspect of something. I do not have the ability, and to be honest with you, I kind of don't want it. I want to rock my strengths. And you might be listening to this, and you might tell me I'm an idiot, I'm a fool. Maybe my thinking is dangerous, but I think I have incredible ideas to offer because they have been given to me. They've been breathed into me by the Lord. I just don't know how to implement them. I totally don't know how to implement them. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of, the whole stuff, looking like an idiot, looking like an idiot. I don't want to look like an idiot. Okay. But that's my thing. Now, the last question, where do you see yourself in 30 days? I wrote, completely renewed in him, expecting his lead and influence to create a radical version of where, what, how to love on his people. A few years ago, I was given a vision for a group called Radical Calling. And of all things, these two words, which are very Christ-centered words that are very much, keywords, right, in the SEO world that should not have been available and were not available online. They were not available. And same with another website that I had, I still have, words were not available. And I prayed and prayed and prayed about them. And then one day I went back and looked, and they're both available. So I bought them both. And I'm not here to sell my wares, so don't worry, I'm not going to spam you. But I want to, in the next 30 days, and it's already happening now, to be in a completely renewed, radical place. Because let's face it, if a guy can go like this on his live call to millions of people that will never meet him, but to be transparent and share with you guys, I love you, and I want to just be caught up in the flurry and the whirlwind of Christ. I want to be in the tornado of Christ because I'm equipped for it. I'm absolutely capable of being in the middle of mayhem and still having a voice and still having a perspective. So that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. And I hope my smile today, and I hope my joy today, and I hope my words today speak to you. And I pray that just Jesus comes in and guides you and keeps you honed and focused. And one thing I would tell you, something that came to me the other day, and I want to share it with you before I forget, is God said to me, use my son's name. Use the name of Jesus in everything you do. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Stop saying God. Now, look, this is not me being pious. I am so not a religious person in the sense of religiosity or, following a program in the sense of how I should behave as a believer. But the one thing I do know is Christ, the softest, most mellow, most loving, most sweet and gentle-natured version, the part of God that is absolutely in love with us, is his strongest part in the sense that he created everything, and yet he's so soft and gentle. But his name invokes fear amongst the spirit world, right? If we claim Jesus in anything, it's done. I mean, Christ already died for us. It's already done in him anyway. But shouldn't we be compelled by that? In other words, do not be afraid of the name Jesus. And if you are, I beg you to pray and pray and pray so you can receive comfort in using his name, to not be afraid of using his name. So I'm not here to preach to you. Sorry if I started to, but please use the name of Jesus. Claim Jesus in victory in all things. I claim that for you. I pray that for you. I can't wait to meet all of you. So God bless you guys. I hope this live call was stimulating and interesting and all those other things that go with it. And I hope to meet almost all of you, if not all of you, soon. Thanks now. God bless. Have a great day.